lovely gentleman in the house. I thought it's Sarah's show, but she can't introduce herself, so I've just plunged in. Right, so health and safety first. We've got the fire exit door this way. If there was a fire, you'd all go through out this door to the back into the road. We've got the ladies' toilet over here, the gents down there, and the kitchen if you want a glass of water. So welcome everybody. My name is Saba. I work in the same building as Sarah Jane Clark. A friend who I work with introduced us. And ever since I've met her, she's been like a good energy to be around. And I discovered that she has this amazing life which she's going to share with you, her weight loss journey. I know we are all here because we have tried all sorts of different diets. God knows, I'm a yo-yo dieter, you know. So I've come to this event just to get some tips on how she began her weight loss journey and to tackle issues around food addiction, which is a subject that we often shy from talking about. I know this even within our own NHS and doctors, they don't like to say the word food addiction. But Sarah is here. She's a Swindon lady. She is famous. Some of you have seen her in magazines.
We've not been
Some of you have seen her in magazines. She's a person who started to learn to run when she turned 40. When I turned 40, I was like, oh, I'm going to learn to run. I'm 41, nearly 42 next month. I haven't started. I'm getting there. Yeah, she's got the eyes on me. She did struggle with weight, but she's found a secret, which she's going to share with us on how she did it. And welcome, Sarah.
Everybody. I have to start by first thanking you all so much for coming out on such an awful evening. I don't think I would have come out to see me stand up here and talk, but I really appreciate that. I just want to start by saying also thank you for being brave. You might wonder why I say that, and that's because I know through experience what I've been through, that weight is a very, very sensitive subject. It still is to me. Even when I see photographs of myself, my eyes fill with tears because I remember she is part of me. We may look very different, but she's who made me who I am today. And I believe it's my purpose to be working with people and supporting them and helping them and sharing practical tools. It's not a diet bashing evening at all. If you're following an eating plan and it's working for you and you're getting healthier, bravo. For me, diets don't work. So please don't think I'm stood up here diet bashing, because I'm not. So there we are. Here I am. At this weight, I was actually 15 stone. I'd already lost 6 stone before that picture was taken. And that picture was taken not long after I gave birth to my daughter, and I was 18 stone. So I ended up being 3 stone heavier than this picture. And I think now that my thigh is the same size as my forearm, to give you some sort of gauge of where I was. I think the thing that frightened me the most was how easy I became 21 stone. I didn't think for 1 minute that I weighed that, and when I got on the scales, I was totally in denial. I was absolutely horrified. I'll talk a little bit more about that a bit later on. But yeah, she is me, I am her, we are the same. It's just the packaging is different now, and I'm going to talk you through that tonight. So the story of where it all started, what those photos mean to me, why did I eat so much, my first step to changes, and how I felt when I started noticing the changes. So The photos mean to me, they're my motivation. A lot of us go on a diet to only come off a diet, and we go back to our old habits. For me, they inspire me each day, and every day I wake up and I choose to be healthy. I don't actually see not eating biscuits, crisps and cake as a negative thing. I don't mourn the loss of those foods. I celebrate my body and I want to fill it with healthy, nutritious food. Why did I eat so much? So here we go. I'm very lucky to work alongside a psychiatrist. He's a very, very, very clever man. In all my experience throughout the NHS and even on a lift psychology course, I kept telling every medical professional that I met, I'm addicted to food. No, 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 that's all I was met with. You cannot be. It's not possible to be addicted to food. It's only when I met Dr. Manchip 3.5 years ago, I told him my story. I explained to him how I used food as a drug because I didn't feel enough. I didn't feel good enough. I didn't feel clever enough. I didn't feel as good as the next one, constantly comparing myself to others. And I ate to suppress all those emotions, and no amount of food I ate would ever satisfy my appetite because I didn't feel enough. Consequently, I have learned any addiction, whether it be drugs, sex, alcohol, gambling, all of those addictions will be the same reason. We're trying to eat, we're trying to stuff down our emotions rather than do the hard thing about facing them. We're trying to suppress them and push them away. It's the easiest thing in the world. I'll deal with that another time. I'll deal with that another time. And of course, that's how I ended up at 21 stone. My first step to change was a horrendous experience in my GP surgery. I'd actually gone, sorry boys, talking about ladies things, because my period had stopped and I wanted to start a family. This GP was extremely cruel to me. She was a female as well, which took me by surprise. She had great delight in telling me I was eating myself to death. I wouldn't make it to 40, and could I step on the scales? They were the old-fashioned dial scales, and they went up to 20 stone. I stepped on the scale went round and a bit more, and I just left there feeling totally humiliated, shamed, embarrassed. She made me feel very stupid for not being able to control what I could eat. And I can honestly say, when I left there, that GP surgery, if I'd have been near a bridge, I probably would have driven there and jumped off. I felt so much shame around my food addiction. I felt so much guilt. And that is exactly how she made me feel. I was at a crossroads in my life. I could have gone to Sainsbury's on the way home and spent 15 quid. My addiction was all sugar, jam, donuts, bars of chocolate, packs of biscuits, you name it, I could eat it. I never had an off button. I was never full. I never ate anything too sweet, too sickly. When people say, oh, I can't eat that, it's too rich, I just think, what are you talking about? You know, I had no off switch. I could just keep going. What I've since learned is nothing externally is going to make you feel good about yourself. That comes from your mindset and what you deal with on the inside. So I had got to a crossroads and I thought, what am I going to do? I was either going to go one way or the other. And for the first time, instead of focusing on how I looked, the number on the scale, the label in my clothes, what size was I wearing, I thought, I want to be healthy. I am damaging my health. I have been told I'm not going to make old age if I carry on like this. I was 26 at the time, and that's when I chose to be healthy. I did not have anybody to talk to. I was so ashamed of my weight and embarrassed. I kept it a massive secret. It was like my dark secret that I kept. What I did, because I was so large, I'd got to the stage where if I went out, groups of lads normally would be pointing, staring, making me feel awful. So what I used to do is I used to wait till it was dark every night, and this was the first step to change. I went out walking at night 30 minutes a day. That was the first step I made. So instead of going on my diet, chucking all the food out the cupboards, thinking I'm going to do this really extreme thing, that is perfectly not sustainable. So of course you're going to fail. I thought I'm going to walk for 30 minutes a day. And that is where I started. Why am I doing this tonight? Because I believe that my experience is to help and support other people with the same. I want this to be my career. I make no bones about that. And I want to raise awareness of food addiction. Like I say, I'm very lucky to work alongside a psychiatrist. And when he found my story out, we sat together and he drew me a diagram of what happens to the brain chemically when you eat lots of sugar. He drew this diagram and then he proceeded to draw another diagram of cocaine. The chemical effect on the brain is the same. I could have kissed him because I felt listened to. I felt heard. This man was telling me, you have got an addiction. It was a light bulb moment. So I knew I had to share that with other people. You can change. And instead of looking at what you're going to eat, you know, if you decide you want to work with me, we won't be talking about what's on your plate. We'll be talking about what's up here. I want to support people, and my life is so different now. I can't even begin to tell you. I shied away from things. I had no confidence. I allowed people to treat me very poorly because I felt ashamed and embarrassed of my weight. And I've lost a lot of people in my life, relationships, friendships, family members. But the people in my life now, they give me such good energy. They are so supportive. They don't question what I do. I found family members who are like, well, you're always going to be a big girl. You know, you're big boned. You're never going to lose weight. And that kind of negativity really dragged me down. So yeah, I feel a great passion for this. So I want to work with as many people because I know how different I feel inside, and I want you guys to feel like that too. So does the diet industry work for you? A question to you all. How many of you been on a diet? And have you sustained the weight you lost? And I don't know about you guys, but by the time I was 14, I had done Weight Watchers and I'd done a Cambridge diet, which is meal replacement. Basically, I was on 3 milkshakes a day and not eating any food. That for me really got me stuck in that diet cycle of starvation binge, and I think that really accelerated my weight gain. When I look back at, actually when I started Weight Watchers, all that had happened was I'd reached puberty at a very young age. I had a woman's body, age 12, and all my friends were still straight up, straight down. And my mum just wanted to help me, bless her. I don't blame her for taking me to Weight Watchers. She could see a sad child and wanted to help her. But definitely for me, that started a very negative cycle of using food in inappropriate ways. I think that diets, if you follow any eating plan, it's not rocket science that when you look at a plate of food, a chicken salad is far, far healthier than burger and chips. We all know that. If it was as simple as following an eating plan, nobody would be overweight because we all know what we should be eating. For me, it's mindset, and that's what you'll learn if you decide to work with me. facts about diets and weight loss. 97% of people who go on a diet that they're normally paying a lot of money for regain all the weight they have lost and more. The reason they regain more is because you feel deprived. You feel like you're missing out. I treated food like it was my friend. I went to it for comfort, to make me feel better. Food is supposed to fuel us. It's not a treat. It's not to be used as celebration. I'll eat to feel good, or that's not what the purpose was. I have a great passion with food manufacturers. There is sugar in everything. Whatever you eat, there is sugar in it. You could go and buy a jar of mayonnaise, and you'd be horrified to read on the ingredients that there's a large amount of sugar in that. Why do they do that? Food manufacturers do that because they know the chemical what effect those chemicals have on the brain, and sugar is highly addictive, so they stick it in everything. We are just being used, you know. So the healthier the food you can eat, the more natural the food you can eat, the better. That will help the sugar cravings subside. You may not even be aware of the fact that you're addicted to sugar because it's in so much food, but that will be what's triggering it. Diets fail to work 95% of the time, and again, I go back to, I think they're getting better, but I know through my experience, they didn't ever ask me, how do you feel, you know, do you need support, why are you feeling so sad about your weight? Nobody wanted to know any of that. I found it completely humiliating at the age of 14 to get on a set of scales in front of a group full of people. It absolutely made someone with low self-esteem feel even worse. So why would you choose to work with me? Only 3% of people that lose weight sustain it. That is tiny, it's minuscule. Also, what I would like to point out to you is I lost so much weight, over 12 stones. I had an awful lot of excess skin. It's a very taboo subject. Nobody likes to discuss it. I've spent £18,000 on surgery to remove that excess skin. When I met my surgeon, he was a very scary man. The first question was, do you smoke? I don't operate on anyone that smokes. I was like, no, I don't. Anyway, we got discussing about my weight loss, and he said to me, Sarah, I've never met anybody that has lost as much weight as you without a gastric band, a gastric bypass. That was the majority of his clients. He couldn't believe it. And then he was asking me for handy hints and tips. It was very interesting in my follow-up, 8 weeks after the surgery, when I went there, he very proudly sat and told me that he'd lost 10 pounds in weight. So yeah, that was that story. But I believe health can be improved at any size. I'm not a firm believer that you've got to be, I don't believe in the BMI because we've all got different muscle mass, we've all got different genes, and our ethnicity as well can give us very different muscle mass and stuff like that. So I don't believe in that, but I just think you can feel healthier at any weight. I know within 2 weeks of walking half an hour a day, I had more energy. I could get out of bed easier. Just through, everyone can find half an hour in a day. I don't care how busy you are. I used to go to the gym 3 times a week. I was a single mum. I worked full-time teaching, so I did all that prep, all that marking, and I used to put it on my calendar the days that I was going to the gym. You know, if you've got a good support network around you, which is crucial, having the right people around you. I've recently lost quite a large friendship group. Looking back, I only allowed myself to be treated like that because I did have low self-worth. They're always, come on, eat this, you're so boring, you don't eat this. I don't drink alcohol, that's through choice of my mental health, that's a whole nother subject. Oh, you're so boring when we go out, you don't get drunk. That's a lie. I'm very outgoing, I'm very chatty, and I'm always the last off the dance floor. I just don't need 3 bottles of wine to do it. So your support network, start noticing what people are saying to you, you know, Are they encouraging you to be unhealthy? Because really, are they your friends then? You know, your friends and people that care about you would want you to be the healthiest version of yourself. Working together, I think if you start working with me, we can look at your own individual lifestyle. Each of us will have a different story to tell. Each of us will have different responsibilities and an amount of time that we can dedicate to our health. But I know the tools that I will give you will empower you to make the right decisions yourself. You won't need to be on a diet because you will have the knowledge and the tools to go away and do that by yourself. So we see the pictures of me before. So, as Sabbath said, at the age of 40, I thought I'm going to go and run 5k. I'd known a lot of people that have battled with cancer. I wanted to run a race for life. So on my 40th birthday, I signed up to a 12-week running course, all on my own. I was petrified. I thought in my head, runners are all going to be like a size 6. They're going to have no fat, no boobs, no bum, which I've got plenty of. And I thought, I'm going to turn up, I'm going to be so out of my depth, I'll probably never go back. I couldn't have been further from the truth. And running absolutely changed my life. I find it quite meditative, I can't say that word, but like meditation, when you're exercising, and it clears my mind. It clears my mind of stress, of worries, of anxiety. So instead of reaching for food to fill all of that, I had found something completely different that got me an awful lot fitter and an awful lot healthier. I've run over 50 half marathons and 4 full marathons. I was one of the slowest runners in my club. I kid you not, I never ever got any faster, which is really annoying. But I could just keep going. I think it's because I'm a bit of a stubborn cow, really. I could just keep going. I lead a very active life, again through choice. I get up early most mornings and exercise. I have been told off by physio because I've got a problem with my knee at the moment. So I religiously take 1 day a week rest now. But if you said to me, describe your perfect day, exercise would be in there because I know the benefits to my mental health. I know I struggled really in the winter. I'd gone into hibernation mode. I just wanted to lock the door and not see anybody. But I knew that encouraged a very lazy lifestyle within me that I could go back to tomorrow. I am not complacent with my weight loss at all. Every day I get up and make a conscious decision to choose to be healthy. It's the same, I believe, in Alcoholics Anonymous. I watched a documentary over Christmas on BBC, and for the first time they'd let cameras in to an AA meeting. They changed their identity, but you followed through the 9-step program that they'd used. What I found really interesting, and my boyfriend and I, we sat and watched together, and I said to Paul, oh my God, everything that they did in Alcoholics Anonymous was what I'd taught myself. I had no idea what they did in an AA meeting, but it proves it works because it was everything that I did. Addressing uncomfortable issues, admitting to yourself, which is the hardest part. This substance has got a control over me. This substance can make me happy, sad, depressed. So yeah, you've got to be honest with yourself. If you think you're ready to make that change, then please stay behind and have a chat with me afterwards. And then, so what am I offering you tonight? For the first course that I'm going to run, I'm offering a reduced price. I'm offering a 5-week course in small groups. I'm a great believer that you need like-minded people around you to buddy up with, especially with exercise. If I arrange to meet someone to exercise, I go. If I don't, I sit on my backside on the sofa, especially in the winter months that we've just had. You need to make yourself accountable. How are you going to do that? With your support network. by checking in with somebody. So I'm offering a 5-week course. We will meet once a week in a small group, and I will go through tools to change your mindset permanently. So there are things that will empower you, you can go away and put into action, and then we'll have the following week. This course will be £50 for 5 weeks, so it's £10 a week. The course consists of the following 5 sessions. The first week, being a food addict, what does it mean? What does it mean to you? That could be, we could have 10 different stories in this room. For me, it's low self-worth, low self-esteem, not feeling good enough. That's what food addiction means to me. And it's quite interesting because obviously when you're on a weight loss journey, it's not all like that. It's a very bumpy road. I had times where I gained a couple of pounds, come off the rails, and it's interesting that my resolve has got easier to get back on the rails because I love how I feel. I can't stand up and say to you I love my body. I don't know any woman that does. I was a hairdresser for many years, and I've met thousands of women. I've not met one that can stand in the mirror naked and go, I love myself. I don't think it exists. Looking at your triggers, this is a really good one for me. So for me, stress and anxiety, and if people upset me, they are the 3 biggest triggers for me to want to binge, for me to turn to food, and I'm very aware of that now. I wasn't at the beginning of my journey, I am now. So we'll be looking at your triggers. Barriers to achieving success. This goes back to, I've been quite harsh with my friends. I've cut people off because I don't understand. Also, I would always go back to my friend Simon, the psychiatrist, and talk with him. Why are these people saying these comments? Like, oh, you're thin enough now, don't go losing any more weight. Or my dad said to me, oh, love, your hip bones are sticking out a bit, eat some ginger nuts. You know, why are these people saying this? And actually, when I look now, because I'm more confident, because I have more barriers, these people that could take advantage of my over kindness, my over apologising, not having any boundaries, were actually using me. And they didn't like the new confident version of me that would say, no, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not drinking because I don't want to. They didn't like it. So I'm afraid they went. I feel so much better for it. I've got a much smaller social circle, but they are gold. I know I can talk to them about anything. I know I can trust them. I know if I said to them, I'm having a really bad day, will you meet me for a walk? Will you meet me for a run? Will you meet me at the gym? They would be there. I know that, and that's why they're in my circle. Staying motivated. This is a big one. Like I said to you before, my journey wasn't like from over 21 stone down to 9 stone, straight down like that. It was like that. All of that depended on what was going on in my life. But now, I would say the tools I've learned, I can cope with situations now without turning back to my addiction. Planning your future goals. To have a short-term goal is really important, especially when you first start. And that's what I did. When I started at 21 stone, I didn't think I want to be stood up here tonight in a size 10 dress. I would have laughed and said, that's not possible. Because I looked at one day at a time, it happened. So again, it's celebrating your small wins. When women say, oh, I only lost £1 this week, have you seen £1 of fat? It's massive, it's disgusting, and you should be giving yourself a clap, not beating yourself up because you only lost £1. So planning future goals, we can do that together. And I think again, because you'll be checking in with me once a week, it's going to make you accountable. So that's what I'm offering. We've got registration forms tonight. Like I say, if you register, the first course is going to be only £50 for 5 weeks. And I've also got business cards up there. And I have a YouTube channel as well with loads of free, over 20 videos on there, all with free advice, tips, There's a really good one about sabotage. It was my most popularly viewed video, and it's really good. It really talks about how other people's behaviour tells you everything about how they feel about themselves. All these friends that didn't want me to lose any more weight, it was their issue with their own weight that they were projecting onto me. And once you understand that, you're a bit like, oh, you don't take things so personally. So go and have a look at that. It's Step by Step with Sarah Jane on YouTube. You can subscribe, watch all the videos for free. And if you're having a bad day, they're really good to watch because they give you a little boost. I'm on Facebook and Instagram too. And the course, like I said, I'm going to run small numbers, so it will be capped at a small group. And there are registration forms at the back if you do want to sign up. And here I am, age 50, completely naked. This is the most frightening thing I've ever done in my life. I was in Closer magazine talking about body confidence as you get older. Oh God, oh my God. So I ended up going to the journalist Kimmy. I met through my sister, who unfortunately passed away at the age of 40. She'd done a lot. She had pancreatic cancer and had done a lot to promote it through the media, through magazine articles, through the Daily Mail. I met this really lovely journalist called Kimmy. So Kimmy was a journalist and her husband was Ben. And I went to their little farm. I had to take my dressing gown off, and I kid you not, I thought I was going to pass out. I was shaking with fear. And I started crying. He didn't even take the first photo. He said, Sarah, why are you crying? And I was crying because I couldn't believe that this man wasn't repulsed at my body. So it was, again, facing a fear that I didn't want to. And these are the results. When he showed me this picture on his laptop, I just was in disbelief. I was like, who is that? And he was like, it's you. So your mind sometimes doesn't catch up with your weight loss. But then I think that's good. That keeps me grounded. I don't want to get above my station. And then this one again was a photo shoot for Daily Mail last year. And I was interviewed about how I changed my life during lockdown. I ended a 16-year relationship, lost a lot of friends, and basically completely changed my life at the age of 49. So it was very scary, but I knew it had to be done. So yeah, she and the girl that you were looking at was over 21 stone earlier is all the same. And I'm just here to help and support you. So anybody got any questions they would like to ask? Or if you don't feel brave enough, I am going to be loitering, so you can come and have a chat with me. Has anyone got any questions they'd like to ask now?
I've got one. How do you start if you've got medical issues and you've tried everything and it's not coming off?
Again, I would look at your support network. I would argue with the GP. I would see what movement you can do. Again, it's small wins. I know at the gym that Paul and I belong to, I do a fantastic class called Stability and Mobility for people with health issues. So there is stuff out there that you can access that will help you change to a healthier lifestyle. I'm not saying everyone's going to lose 12 stone, but you can make improvements to your health. Simple things like drinking enough water. There's a young lady I work with called Kelly. She's amazing. She's got 8 kids, this woman. She looks fantastic and she never drank enough water. So she and I would have many a conversation in the kitchen as she's making her coffee. And I'd say, Kellyanne, you really need to drink more water. So she did listen because I am persistent. And she now drinks over 2 litres a day and said, oh my God, I feel so much better. I know myself, if I haven't drunk enough water, I get almost like a cloudy mind. I can't think straight, I can't process information. So those simple little things, it doesn't sound like a lot, but when you start feeling the benefits of the changes that you make, it feels so good, you don't want to go back. And in fact, I was talking to somebody today, I think it was my friend Dean, came to see me in my office, and I was telling him about, so my body now is really, really good at telling me what not to eat. And was going through a particular lot of stress, and I was losing weight and not really trying to, which has never, ever, ever happened in my life. It really was a lot of stress. And so a colleague had bought in these Marks and Spencer's cakes, and I thought, do you know what? I've lost another couple of kilos, I'm going to have one. So I ate this cake, which was consisted of a chocolate chip cookie was the base, chocolate sponge, a massive load of icing on the top, and it was like 500 calories for this one cake. Within 20 minutes of eating that, my stomach had blown up and I was on the loo. So my body is really good now at telling me, I just tune into it. It tells me what are you doing? It tells me, you know, this is poison to you, this is no good for you. And I have to say, at times when I do go off the rails, I find Christmas really hard. You're surrounded by chocolates, crisps and food everywhere, especially where I work in the office. And if I do have a bad day and I eat that, I feel awful. I wake up, my face is swollen, I don't feel confident, I don't feel good about myself, and I want to shut myself away. So when I say to you, it's a journey, it really is an ongoing journey that I'm going on, and I embrace that. I don't see it as negative. I don't see it as one day I'm going to come off my healthy lifestyle, because quite frankly I don't want to. I don't want to stop feeling like this, and yeah, it feels good. I've got a new life now. Does anyone else have any questions?
How do you find eating out?
That's a really, really good question, Holly, and 9 times out of 10 I'll have a look at the menu before I go, and choose the healthiest option. I love Indian food, but I never eat anything in a sauce because, again, my tummy tells me, so I tend to have dry things like tikka, or I don't. The one food group that I do not eat is bread. I've not eaten it for my son is 23. The last time I had bread was the day I gave birth to my dot cross bun. So he's 24 on April, so it'll be 24 years in April I've not eaten bread, because again, if I eat bread, my stomach comes out here and the pain I get. So that's my body telling me, this is no good for you.
The trouble is though, Sarah, stuff like that has been in people's diet for so
Yeah.
years, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So it's a hard habit to break, isn't it?
Oh, Colin, none of this has been easy.
Oh, no, I'm sure.
But
I
no,
know.
yeah.
Colin. It's very hard.
It's very hard, but it is a positive choice that I make.
Sure.
Do you have a wheat intolerance then?
Sorry?
Do you have a wheat intolerance?
No, because I can eat other forms
Okay.
of that.
I just wondered because
Yeah, no.
sometimes we can't eat any other.
No, and it seems to be particularly white bread. And actually, when you look at white bread, it has no nutritional value in it. Wholemeal and seeded is better. So yeah, it's just my body telling me, I don't want you. And I think the healthier you eat, the more it repels it. But I do eat out very regularly. I've got a very lovely boyfriend that takes me out for dinner. And I have a social life. I'm not some hermit that just eats green food, you know. It's about balance. I know if I'm going out to eat in the evening, I'll have a lighter lunch, I'll have a lighter breakfast. It's all about balance. I wouldn't have been able to sustain it. You know, I'm living proof that I can sustain it, and so can you. But it's the choices that you want to make. Yeah. It's habits and mindset.
So do you still eat chocolate and the odd bits
Yes,
and
I
pieces?
do. I do. At the weekend, I do love a treat. I don't tend to eat so much chocolate now because my taste buds have changed as I've got older. But I love pop chips. They're the healthy version of crisps. I have a big bag of them to myself at the weekend. Homemade cake I'm a sucker for because I think the ingredients are in it are better. But again, if I have a piece of cake, I won't at lunchtime. I won't have a yogurt after my dinner at tea time. It's just little things like that. So yeah, I do.
I've got a question for you, and this is not pretty.
God, here we go. Yes, dear.
How did you feel? Obviously, you started your running sort of
Yeah.
5k. So how did you feel when you crossed the line at the London Marathon?
I've been very lucky.
There's a story there, Sarah, as well, isn't there?
Oh God, yeah.
So,
So I started training for marathon, and my lovely friend Colin ran every single training mile with me in hail, sleet, snow, rain, and he wasn't even running a marathon, bless him. That's when I say to you, my friends are golden. I mean they're golden. And I was really anemic. I had no idea. I went for a routine blood test, and all of a sudden running became a lot easier after I had massive dose of iron. When I was young, I watched the London Marathon, probably sat next to my gran eating cake and biscuits that she baked for me. And I remember thinking, I'll never ever be able to do that. That's for the elite. And I've run 4 marathons now. I just felt like I'd won in life, really. I crossed that line, and it is incredible, powerful, very, very, very powerful, Paul. That's how I would describe it. Yeah, I felt invincible.
Massively inspiring, Sarah. I think, everyone will agree. I guess my question was about the Couch to 5k.
Yeah.
Because I know so many people, I can't run,
Yeah.
I'm not run. Like you said, elite, but even just normal folk, like, where do I even start,
So I would argue that because of what I've experienced, I was a very slow runner. If you're running and you can't talk, you're running too fast. That's the first thing I got taught. 1 minute walk, 1 minute run the first week. And the whole time my helper, who was a very experienced runner, was chatting to me. And if I couldn't answer her, she'd say, you need to slow down. So I was a slow runner, but I could just keep going. And yeah, don't knock it till you try it, I would say. I've got an issue with my knee at the moment, which is natural wear and tear for my age. I'm 51. I recently had a steroid injection, which has been game changing, and I am hoping to go back to my running. But I also, about 3 years ago, I started working with weight training, and that is a game changer for women. When we get to 30, our bone density starts decreasing, and so for me, the weight training has completely changed my body shape, and I've just feel so much stronger on a day-to-day basis. You know, when you've got a really busy day, a jam-packed schedule, you're trying to be everything to everyone, you know, at the end of the day, we're all someone's daughter, child, carer, and you're trying to be everything to everyone. And I just think the fitter I am, the more I can cope with, and I've just got more resilience, I think.
Sarah, I've got a question. So, I know Sarah through my missus who works with Sarah.
She's
And
my
we were-
lovely little bridesmaid to be.
So, obviously, I've got a question about weight.
Is there a cook here, Anthony?
Yeah.
Our educator.
I don't really mind about my weight, and then, you know, like as in somebody else does.
Yeah.
So, when we went to a meal and you had all the stuff that was good, like it was like creme brulee and all sorts of stuff. I just didn't know how you were gonna, you know, work that off. Me, I don't know, I would go to the gym or something, you know, a little bit.
So the
So
next
do you
morning,
have a diary at work, at home, or
Yeah.
what do you do?
so my friend that I work with is a really, really good cook. She invited us all around for this 3-course meal, which was
It
amazing.
Massive.
And it was a Friday night. I didn't get to bed till 12:30. At 8:20 on the Saturday morning, I was in the gym doing a HIIT class, followed by a body pump class. So that's how I sustained my weight loss, through discipline. Did I want to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning? Of course I bloody didn't. Did I want to go and work out with this bloody full of rich food? No. Did I feel like I was going to puke? Yes, all the other end. So it's about balance. What do you want? Like, I was eating myself to death. I had a massive wake-up call. I think we all have that light bulb moment where we think, shit, this is out of control. And maybe you have to get to that point to change. And if you're not at that point, maybe now is not the right time. But you will reach a point where you think, I've got to address this, like any addiction, you know. So yeah, I hope that's answered. Discipline is how,
Discipline.
because I don't eat like that every meal, Anthony, I can assure you. The meal sees all the salad I eat. So yeah, it's,
I try my best.
yeah. Any other questions?
Sarah, I've got questions.
Yes.
Well, first of all, you are so inspiring and you look gorgeous.
Thank you.
I think we would all be inspired by Sarah tonight because she just looks amazing. Food addiction, that's my question. So, I don't mind admitting I love Jaffa cakes. Absolutely love them, but I just really like them.
Yeah.
But I guess my question is, at what point does it become an addiction, or
I think when
where does
it
it go from a food you just really like to an addiction?
I think when it has got control over you, I would say food was the first thing I would think about when I woke up in the morning. So I'd think, oh my God, I can't eat this today, I can't eat that, I ate all that sugar, yes, I better not eat this. And then I'd go to bed, oh my God, I want to eat this, I want to eat that. It was the first thought on my mind in the morning and the last thought on my mind at night. And I thought about food constantly, Jill. So I think when you cannot control a substance and the volume that I ate. I quite often stand in petrol stations now and they have this awful row of chocolate as you're queuing to pay for your fuel, don't they? It's horrendous. But I look at that and think, oh, I could clear that. Like there was no off switch. I was never full up. Nothing was too sweet, nothing was too rich. Just could keep going. And I cannot tell you how easy I ended up at 21 stone. It frightened me. It was so easy. And I could go back to that tomorrow. And that's where the discipline kicks in. But I don't see discipline as a negative thing. It's a choice that I choose. And the life I've got now, I would not have at 21 stone. The opportunities, the people I've met, the jobs I've done, I would not have done that that way.
Lifestyles have changed, haven't they, over so many years?
Massively,
And,
Colin.
I think you sort of think back, a certain age group of person can sort of think back to when your parents maybe used to do, three meals, sort of like that, 3 meal sort of times a day, breakfast, dinner, or lunch, whatever, and then tea. And it was a very sort of standardised thing, wasn't it?
And I know that certainly.
Now, people's lifestyles have changed so much. How many people, at some points, I remember sort of hearing stories, people get up, we'll have a pack for breakfast, will we?
Yeah.
Right, okay. How's your day going to go from there?
Yeah.
That was then, I know, but I say, does it still, things like that still happen?
I think the trouble.
Lifestyles as they are now.
I think we all lead really busy lives, and I think fast food is so easily available. You haven't even got to leave home.
Yeah.
We live in an apartment, and we quite often see on a Sunday morning Deliveroo's delivering McDonald's breakfast to people's door. They haven't even had to leave the house. So all of this highly addictive food that's got no nutritional value, you could eat that till the cows come home. You are not going to feel full up because it doesn't hold any nutrients. Your body is still craving iron, protein, carbs, because you've just filled it with a load of mass-produced chemicals, basically. I'm not a dietitian, I'm not trained in food. I have a lot of knowledge through my experience. So yeah, and I think the busy lifestyle, my mum worked part-time in a job that fitted us around us kids, and she was there making us breakfast every day, like you say, doing my packed lunch and cooking me a meal every night, which always consisted of meat and 2 veg, or fish and 2 veg. Very basic, neutral food that wasn't going to give you massive sugar spikes, that's going to make you addicted. So yeah, the lifestyle is definitely a big one. Hello.
So on an average day,
Yes.
what would you eat?
So for breakfast I always have porridge, blueberries and Greek yogurt. I try to eat protein at every meal. I'm not a vegetarian, but I eat an awful lot less meat now than I used to. I eat a lot of vegetarian sausages. I'll cook them up. So today my lunch was chicken breasts, and I make, or rather Paul makes, a really lovely chopped broccoli salad. So it's very, very finely chopped broccoli. I had coleslaw in it, ginger, sweet corn, red peppers, a great big bowl of it because I can still eat, and chicken breasts. So that was my lunch today. I've had 2 apples. I've always carried food with me wherever I go, because if you get delayed, if you're tired and your energy level dips, the easiest thing to grab is something that's not going to be very good for you, and I'm very aware of that. I carry seeded oat cakes with me because they come in little individual packets. And then tonight I've yet to eat, but I am going to go and have a chicken tikka tonight.
Healthy one.
Yeah, but I wouldn't choose something in a sauce because my tummy wouldn't like it. It would be so rich. I find Christmas really hard because you naturally eat a lot richer food. My tummy doesn't like it. My tummy goes out like that because it's just not used to it. I don't eat cream on a daily basis. I don't eat, you know, rich Christmas pudding on a daily basis, but I do have it. But I've fallen in love with feeling healthy because I've sustained that for so long. And you can, the habits that I was in, when I was in hairdressing, my ex-boss, I'm still really good friends with now, she's like a surrogate mum to me, she's 78. I used to eat a jumbo-sized packet of chocolate buttons for breakfast and a full can of full sugar Coke. That was my breakfast. So you can see how I've changed my habits, but I didn't do it all at once. And my fitness regime now is a lot, but I didn't start my journey like that. I started by walking for 30 minutes a day at night so no one could see me, and then introduce water, then swap chips for jacket potato. And you know, when you're that way, the weight comes off pretty easily with tiny changes and celebrating that. I would say as well, I never lost a lot of weight very quickly, which I think is key. I worked with a lady who was in her 50s and she did this meal replacement thing, so she didn't eat any food, lost 5.5 stone. Next time I saw her, she put it all back on. And when she'd lost that weight, so the skin was just deflated and she looked very ill. She was very pale, she'd started losing her hair because obviously she's not eating any food. And can you sustain that? Who wants to sustain that? I want to go out and have a chicken tikka and salad tonight, you know? So it's about learning new habits, and they all take time. And it's not about doing everything all at once, because that's a fad, and fads don't work. We all know that. Okay, so I will be milling around, so if you want to come and have a private chat, because I know it's such a sensitive subject, but thank you all so much for coming out on such a horrible night.